suba a la montaña esa que está allá al final en casa de la pinga, le van a meter un headshot de... Mira, mira, otro kill más.
Otro más, que saque boom.
Pero el tipo nada más...
Okay, ya.
My story.
I told you, my story also, he también estaba hackeando.
What the actual fuck, yo?
Dos tiros nada más que te echaron.
Yo no me voy a salir todavía, quiero ver quién gana entre Kosaka Boom y My Story.
Esto es un joke.
Quizá los dos están en el mismo equipo.
Mira, Kosaka Boom, ¿puedo reportarlo o no? Chido.
Donated to SOAS.
Getting more of these plays here, the Galio able to push in the mid lane, then walk pitches down. Let's also remember now that TP is gone from Xiaohu's side. He's in the mid lane though. Caps, what are you doing?
Oh, Caps gets shut down for some reason.
Why would you not just recall?
Major pathing mistake. Whether or not RNG commit to the fight or if they just
Uzi's out of there.
Tower. Uzi and Ming have backed away. We're looking at Fnatic vision for now. There's Uzi starting to move forward after the ambush. A flash engage from MLX.
Sí, tenía espeja, Flaco, sí tenía espeja, sí.
Pero fue matando con un carro.
Puts the cataclysm down. He
Saca
gets
un-
stunned up.
otra gente más.
Cosmic Radiance has been
Ya,
ahead
que está escapado, bro.
so much time. Broxer gets a stun onto Uzi. He uses the cleanse to escape.
Massive miscommunication on RNG's side. Let me walk back into the lane. Was standing in front of a Mega Gnar, so he could not ult down on MLXG. He thought he had the ulti on him. No chance, because let me again walk back in lane. He's coming now. Here comes the package with Jin.
All right, that's a defensive flash from Reckless. The taunt comes down. Here Resemblance does nothing to save Fnatic. RNG get their first kill.
Oh my god, ese tipo me mató a todo el mundo.
The next one's around.
Oh my god, what the fuck es mi historia ese. Mató como 8 gente ahora mismo, ¿eh?
Habían 26 y de repente 19.
El tipo soltó los perros ahí para que se comieran a comer. My story.
Está grabando ese tipo.
El tipo tiene un juego a 40 y algo. Mira para allá, por 3 más. El 5 lo pasó por arriba el caballo de Junior.
Hey.
Es que el ciclo no se va ni cerrar. Que se termina el juego.
For Uzi, Soaz has joined up to completing his teleport on the tower. Xiaohu gets taken down. Caps and Soaz trying to turn this around. Uzi's running into Fnatic out and going back down to Mini Gnar. Form. Good stun onto Uzi on the back end. I think he managed to sidestep it. In fact, Cataclysm locks up MLXG. Stand United completes the cosmic taunt. Buys a lot of time. That's a great Durant taunt. First kill of the fight for Fnatic, and the tower remains alive. RNG are peeling away in a 5v4. Teleports coming down from Soaz as well as Xiaohu. Let me stop in the front line. Cosmic Radiance will buy some time. Baron's picked up by Fnatic, and it's a flag and drag out for MLXG. Uzi looking to open up, hasn't fired that yet. Chain of Corruption buys some time. Hero's Entrance will save Brox's life ever so slightly. Uzi still looking for a kill. Legends never die until Cap is going down. He's going to get shut down, but securing the Baron, Fnatic have got some more options.
But where does the Elder Drake say? Doesn't even go for it. There are only 2 Cloud Drakes over on RNG's side, but there's still the burn obviously coming in from this Elder Drake here. But now both teams are sitting. Fnatic is like,
We need to chase forward as the Chain of Corruption dissuades any further chase. Soaz continues to go low. Gets to gnaw out, and MLXG gets stunned against the wall.
Big ult hit.
Will buy a lot of time. Cataclysm locks all of Fnatic into the pit. Nobody has died again. Uzi is once again the target as Cap uses the ultimate to escape. A flash ball from Uzi. He gets one. Brox is poisoned. That's a double. Bringing attention. Cap will be next. It's a double kill for Uzi. Cap will be run down, shot down, and killed. RNG fight forward.
RNG been waiting and waiting all game long for this one.
He stands down the barrel of 5 members of Royal Never Give Up. They are tearing down the Nexus turrets, and the last Fnatic member falls. Guangzhou is on their feet. Legends never die. When Guangzhou's calling out your name, RNG advance to the semifinals.
And there may have been 18 minutes of
¿Ganó final?
Todavía no termina.
No, what the fuck?
Esa gente que tú piensas que están haciendo ahora, ya que vos ya está tan eso, están dejando los hacks, quitando los hacks ahora.
Ahora le quito los juegos que ganan el último pedazo y lo postean en redes después. Dice, oh my god, mira los capados, gané el primer juego hoy. Mi primer...
25 kills.
No, 25 pica más.
No, uno cogió 35 y el otro cogió 43.
Entre ellos dos mataron a las 100 gente. Mira, 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 Cosacabún ese mató 3.
Cosacabún, 9, ya 9, quedan 9.
Ellos van de 3 en 3.
Story. Yo creo que son teammates, brother. Si no se hubiesen matado uno al otro.
Eso es lo que te digo ahorita.
Ya el ciclo
Ya se está cerrando el círculo. Está mucho más chiquito.
Story. My story. It's like a boom. 5.
Gente.
Of that game where nobody dies, but it was all a matter of time until RNG could get that one fight. Fnatic did not have the late game. They were banking on getting a pick on Xiaohu or Uzi so they could maybe make a push with Herrick, but the later that game got, the more likely it was that RNG would be in semifinals.
And Fnatic just almost felt like they ran out of options. They had no play left in the book other than just try and take the 50-50 smite, but it ended up happening so late in the game that as soon as we actually saw the play, there was already full items on Xiaohu and Uzi.
And speaking of this RNG team playing the slow man,
Avión, tengo que cogerlo.
El avión está pasando por arriba incluso. Saca uno, mató otro tipo.
Ya
Ya,
sé lo
eran
normal.
teammates. Todo lo que quedaban eso. Wow. Qué manera es aquí.
Voy a ir 3 veces ya.
Esta gente habrá reportado a esa gente, me imagino.
Ojalá. Para que lo vayan el fucking juego y tengan que comprarse abrir otra cuenta Steam hasta el 60 pesos para que lo vuelvan a hackear.
¿Tú crees que esa gente se compra con cuentas así por así?
Claro.
Yo digo sí, son 20 pesos nomás.
Ellos se compran, ellos los hackean, ellos los banean y ellos se compran hacen otra cuenta Steam y se compran juegos.
A lo mejor hasta piden un refund ya.
¿Cómo
Hasta
es?
que lo vuelvan a...
A lo mejor hasta piden un refund ya.
Nah, no, es caro. Ponte un refund después.
No creo que puedas pedir un refund si te hacen algo así.
Después, si tú juegas, sí, bueno, sí, si te reportan creo que no. Nada más que puedes jugar una o 2 horas de juego antes, después...
No, son 4 horas, son 4 horas.
No, son 4, lo subieron ahora. Dale, rey. Venga, pero qué cantidad de hackers nos hemos topado en los últimos días.
Los últimos días hemos topado unos cuantos hackers, sí.
Están subiendo los números. Ah, Playerunknown'S no, ya está comiendo mierda.
¿Se ready ya?
No, que tienes que descargar un hacker ahí y mandarlo para acá para nosotros, bro.
Oh.
Enséñanos un hacker de ahí.
Ya,
¿Hay que darle
hacker.
refresh o qué?
Pon, sí, yo puse refresh.
Refresh. Ya. A mí me dice que falta friki. No, eso es ayer, eso es estupidez. Eso ya no te va a hacer más bueno ni nada.
¿Estás ready? ¿Por qué no está? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué está pasando aquí?
Yo le di refresh y le di ready.
Alguien no está poniendo ready, obviamente.
Friki.
Alguien aquí va a
Dice que
necesitar
friki, que no le dio ready.
ponerse las cosas.
Friki, dale ready. Dale ready.
Chance. Déjame ver la partida esta.
Tú no puedes recibir.
sí.
¡Ah! ¡Gimote!
¿Dónde? Lego. Está lejos, cojones, yo.
Creo que esto está enfocado.
El que se tiró cuando yo me tiré no está en tiempo que tomábamos de...
Vamos a echar un fortunite ahora.
Yo voy a caer por el dining por aquí. Ahí te voy a decir, hay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fuck, no hay nada FK.
Son dos equipos, sí. No hubo ni un solo FK.
Oh my god, friki, estamos jodidos.
Yo voy a caer en el dining.
Sí, los dos vamos a caer en el dining, pero él entró primero.
Parte la vida, flaco.
Ricón, no se muere. Friki, Johnny, uno está entrando en tu casa. Oh my god. Está en el tejado de la iglesia. Está tirándole...
Lo tiramos ahí,
Tira
Johnny.
Brincó bajo.
Yo tengo una fucking cal. Hay gente que es lado de nosotros, flaco.
No queda este aquí atrás.
Oh my god.
Rochea Johnny.
Hay un tipo subiendo aquí. No, me cogieron entre como 4 gente. No sé si me oyeron o qué pinga pasó, pero me vino una rocha. Ahí está. 4 gente, los 4 están en el balconcito aquí conmigo. ¿Qué pinga es este?
Pinga, te moriste, no te pude dar.
Están los 4 en el balconcito. Si tiran una granada para el balconcito lo podemos dar.
No, de granada, si yo no tengo la carta. Puedo que mate a uno.
Yo sí tengo una granada de humo. Y tengo una sola bala en la choco. Mira la vida que tengo. Y me están tirando tiros ya. ¿Qué balconcito está, friki?
El que me mataron.
Oh my god, me tiraron un tiro. Oh my god. Wow. El otro está en la casa. El negro ese le di 2 tiros. Debe estar muerto casi. Bueno, también tenía un medkit yo. Y cogí ahí mismo en la casa. Oh shit. Cierra esta puerta. Te va a caer de nuevo.
Está brother.
Oh shit. Este es negro todavía, que el negro fue el que me mató. Wow. Espera que se pongan en la ventana. Oh my god, te vio. Ya te vio. Tú no te podías mover de ahí, tú eras un free target. Él se puede echar para atrás. Wow. lo menos no nos janguearon esos huevos. Que nosotros sabemos.
Bueno, eso sabemos, sí.
Aunque el negro ese que entró a la casa, le tiré como... Bueno, yo no sé, pero yo sé que vi sangre. No sé cuántos tiros le di, pero sé que vi sangre y tenía la AK en aro. Y no se murió.
¿Cuántos tiros le diste? 3 tiros.
No sé cuánto. Yo lo que vi un sangrero, madre, pero... No, maté. Yo no tenía vida, nada más que tuvo que tirarme un tiro. Johnny le metieron un gangbang, lo tenían ahí.
A mí un gangbang es poco. Me moví como 2 negros y un blanquito ahí. Acabaron conmigo. Acabaron conmigo.
Era el negro cabrón ese.
Negro ese, oh, negro.
No, eso te salvaste entonces. No fue tan mala la cosa. Bueno, en el jacket, este jacket, un fío, lo mejor.
Where are you going? Billboard, ahora sí, Billboard. You got it. Billboard, este es el momento del Billboard. Time to redeem ourselves. Billboard Yankee.
¿Carro naranja es?
El carro naranja ese. Wow. Ese carro... Oh my god, espérate, ese carro está explotado. Oye, esos carros están...
No, está por ahí. Un jeep al frente también.
Sí, el jeep. Podemos lootear esto también.
¿Alguien va a coger el jeep?
Sí, me cago en su madre. No va a coger ni pinga. Vamos a ver si en esta casa hay una pistola que sea.
¿Se explota el carro naranja entonces? Sí.
No.
Tipo corrió para el jeep.
No, bueno, tengo que el jeep cerrado ahí.
Estoy viendo. No sé por dónde cogió el tipo ese. Ten cuidado tú, capaz que ha ido por las casas.
Tío, una pila de gente se tiraban para acá, what the fuck.
my god, este juego me tintea tanto. Oye, que estás apuntando con una granada. Vamos, ¿para dónde? Para la parte de atrás, Para allá.
Vamos a hacer Johnny, ¿esto van a hacer Johnny?
No, ¿para dónde está? Oh, Johnny ya está ahí.
Por este lado del edificio alguien está aquí.
¿Alguien está en el edificio ese friki?
Sí.
Voy por el techo.
Alguien entró por ese lado.
Oh shit, hay gente en el otro techo. Hopefully they don't see me, they don't see me, they don't see me, they don't see me. Tumbaron a uno ya. No había nada en el techo, nada había.
El tipo está en el segundo piso, ¿viste?
¿En el segundo piso?
Sí, porque el primero completo ya... Oh my god, hay un tipo de este lado.
Corre para acá. Esto está looteado todavía.
Corriendo por ustedes.
Oh, what?
Oh my
Yo
God,
pensé que...
pensé que era
¡Flaco,
tú.
serás como de pinga, brother! Oh my god, dude.
Flaco espíritu me pingue ahí.
Oye, yo pensé que era un tipo.
Oh my fucking god, brother. Tú no ves los nombres, brother.
No es nombre.
Oh
Tú
my
brincaste,
fucking
en el
god.
aire no se te ve nada de eso.
Holy shit, entonces no matas al que no lo matas, no lo matas.
Oye, el tipo se le di como 2 tiros, no sé cómo no se murió.
No, 2 tiros, no, 3 tiros le
No,
diste.
2 tiros. Tú nada más que eso porque tú veas.
No, 3 tiros le diste.
Tú saliste hasta esto a la casa.
Si tú le dieras así, de la manera que tú me diste a mí, si tú le dieras así a las otras gente.
¿Cómo tú saliste de la casa si estás en el techo?
Yo no estaba en el techo.
Tú subiste para este lado, ¿no?
Me puedes revivir todavía, Free.
El tipo tiene una pistolita, ¿viste? El tipo lo que tiene una pistola.
Y alguien más le está tirando a él.
Y hecho conmigo lo que tiene nada más que era un tiro.
Si me rochea, me puede revivir, Free. Wow. Yo pensé que no iba a sobrevivir a esto.
Este juego ganamos, Free.
¿Tienes que pagarme vida, Free?
No, no.
¿Tienes una pistolita, un side deal
No,
todavía?
no. Aquí mira, aquí friki, para darte vida.
¿Por qué?
Ya me estoy buscando.
Está en el otro edificio.
Porque entró en Crossbow aquí con una cantidad de flash increíble.
Ya. You set for life.
Wow. ¿No? Coño. Ah, damn, ponle eso al crossbow ese.
Si aunque sea pudiera ponerle yo 2 flechas al mismo tiempo al crossbow.
Johnny, ¿qué arma tú tienes ahí?
Mira, me necesito un scope.
Ah,
Coge friki, coge friki.
wow.
Nah, pinga esto, ni que eso fuera, soy fucking CBS Pharmacy yo aquí, bro. La misma pistolita 2 veces ya la he encontrado.
Ponle peor esa pistolita.
Hay tipo un jump tracksuit de eso amarillo en el edificio de
Are you
frente.
fucking serious? Todos los scopes, todos los mierda de esa vida. ¿Qué
Mira,
the fuck is that shit?
Están al frente, friki. El otro equipo está al frente, cruzando para... Oh, uno va a entrar al edificio.
Qué difícil.
El edificio está al frente de nosotros. Oh, eran diferentes
Deja
aparentemente.
que se mate. Voy a buscar al choco flaco.
El tipo aquí no hay yo que nada más que tenía un tiro, se estaba jodido de todas maneras.
Oh, what? Yo no cabía aquí. Con 4 y una pila de cosas ahí.
Yo que está aquí. Me busca las balas que están ahí. Junior arriba de ti. ¿Tú llegaste al techo?
Todavía están los edificios frente, friki.
Sí,
Estoy vigilando aquí.
Oh.
Friki está afuera.
¿Afuera dónde?
Está corriendo para allá, para los garajes aquellos. Ahí disparó a alguien.
Veo la bronca por allá bien lejos.
Mira, el tipo está corriendo adelante, ¿tú lo viste?
Sí, lo vi, pero está lejos todavía. Está lejos. Él tiene que venir para acá,
¿Puedes subir el tejado este? El Johnny puede subir el tejado y lo puede estar bien.
¿Dónde está friki?
Él corrió para la izquierda, Friki. Como para los contenedores amarillos esos. Mira, ahí está arriba los contenedores. Ah, no es mine. Pero sí, no. Está en esa área por ahí, por los contenedores esos.
Yo creo que están corriendo para allá, para el otro lado, para los hangares.
Vamos, friki. ¿Qué tú tienes?
Nada. Un hecho con
Un
un nivel.
cropo lo que
Aquí yo sé que se mató un montón de
Mira,
gente.
mira una metralleta ahí.
Sí, vi. Ese tipo lo mataron ahora mismo. ¿What?
Oye, what? ¿Qué? La casa se veía de este lado.
Una escala.
Oh, estoy viendo por allá.
Pero no tiene bala.
Están en la cosa de radio, friki.
Friki, ¿tienes bala de Scar ahí?
Te puedo dar, sí, te puedo dar. ¿Quieres coger la mini? Yo te doy el amigo de por 4. No tengo que usar la mini.
Anyway, sí, me da lo mismo. Coge el Scar entonces.
Pero es que-
Lo tiene un por 4 ya. O sea, no le quite por 4.
Ah, cogí la mini, no.
¿Tienes bala ahí? Tengo que quitar 30 balas. ¿Tienes parte de vida?
No.
¿Friki?
No tengo, dame.
Este tiene 50 painkillers.
Un painkiller y un Red Bull.
No, verdad, tú te tomaste lo otro. Brincó, ¿tú lo viste?
No lo vi.
Está el hangar ese que estaba por al lado de la hangar que estaba por eso.
¿Tienes chaleco tú, Friki? ¿Tienes vez?
No.
Hay uno por uno aquí abajo.
A ver si creo que está arriba ustedes. Mira allá atrás, en el hangar de atrás. Mira allá.
Lo vi. Si te subes arriba, Friki, lo vas a ver corriendo por 150, 165.
Ten cuidado por la derecha, a ver si te sale, a mí por la izquierda, a ver si te sale el otro.
Seguro se metió Friki en el,
Sí,
en el radio. Mira, está arriba.
No arriba. ¡No!
Le dio un tiro en el aire.
Dos tiros le di.
Mira el otro de la izquierda.
Ok, están los dos atrás, ok, Friki.
Sacó la cabecita. El otro capaz que esté adentro.
¿Sí que esta gente va a campear ahí?
Pero están en el último piso.
arriba.
Este es el piso, Friki.
Ay, ahí le puedes dar,
Sí. Creo que hay otro equipo que está tirando ahí.
Sí, hay otro equipo que lo está tirando por ahí. Mira, la caja. No, pero un poquito. Se agachó.
Aquí está.
Papá, ¿le da como 3 tiros a ese tipo?
Métete que la
Ok, hay algo de un bug aquí en esta esquina, parece que los vanos...
Está
¿Dónde?
todavía ahí, está todavía ahí.
¿Qué pasó? No entiendo.
No, apúntale bien.
Yo veo el tipo arriba patinando ahí, no sé. ¿Dónde tú ves el tipo, friki?
Revive este, revive
¿Te
este.
tumbó? Oh shit.
Sí,
No,
sí.
no, no, no.
¿Me tumbó?
Claro, tú estás tirando el
Tú
piso.
estás lagueado, Friki, tú estás lagueado.
Ok. No sé qué está pasando. Yo estoy caminando nomás para mi pantalla.
No, no creo que ahí le vaya.
Ok, what the fuck? Oh my god, y ese lag.
Yo creo que el que mató a Johnny fue el que estaba atrás, ¿oíste?
Quizás sí.
Porque tiene un ángulo perfecto ahí en el Johnny. Está todo bien en la caja, está todo bien en la caja. El tipo está todo bien en la caja.
Oh, Friki, mano derecha aquí.
Oh my god, pero te mató rápido, un cojones.
Sí, no tiene una vuelta.
What the fuck, yo. ¿Qué fucking pinga el lag ese? ¿Qué pinga fue eso? Yo estaba... yo veía el tipo de arriba patinando. Patinando, yo le di como 4 hechos y no se moría.
Y tú no te diste cuenta que tú estás ni noqueado.
No, yo estaba en mi pantalla estaba normal. Yo estaba noqueado. Y empecé a mirar para arriba frío, me botaron para atrás y me pusieron en el piso. What the fuck, yo.
Oye, Friki, parece que el Scar tiene más range que lo que tú pensabas, ¿viste? Porque las balas no estaban bajando con el tipo que...
No, bro, yo no veía ni las balas esas.
Yo las veía cuando daban arriba la cabeza, pero like, no le daban, tenías que apuntar perfecto para abajo. A la cabeza. Y tú le tumbaste el casco al tipo que estaba ahí en la torre.
Eso es una mierda el lag ese, bro.
El tipo le hackeó, le subió el ping al Johnny. Eso es un hack que cuando yo te apunto te empieza a dar lag a ti. Te sube el ping de una manera que tú no puedes explicar. I'm the king. No te piñazo aquí. Mete un cocotazo, ¿viste? Son Power Rangers. Son 6 mil ticas, 1000 tonos, 1000 tonos. Tica, 1000 tonos. Oh my god, el juego entero se ha tirado en la ciudad hasta aquí adelante.
God damn, ¿está de gente?
No sé, no sé. Oh my, hay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. CFK. Está fucking tipo ahí. 2, 3, 4. Hay un equipo completo para mis tonas. A mí, para mis ticas. Mano, hay más de un equipo, más de un equipo. Hay más de un equipo.
¿Jando arriba o abajo, friki?
Yo voy a
No,
arriba.
yo voy a tratar de caer abajo por
Estoy
aquí.
cayendo abajo yo también. Tenemos unas cuantas gente arriba, friki.
Yo voy a caer abajo. El equipo de acá arriba.
Ok.
Y yo caí abajo, pero por algún motivo me dio tremendo trozo. Uno cayó aquí al lado mío abajo de mí.
Oh my god.
Friki, atrás de ti, flaco, atrás de ti, le di un tiro por la cabeza.
Oh my god, a mí me mataste a mí también.
¡Aquí! ¡No! ¡Friki, me va a matar! ¡No! ¡Qué pinga!
No, have no fucking guns! Mira, encontré esto aquí.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna get everybody, Friki. I'm gonna get every fucking body.
Atrás mío un tipo.
Free, Flaco, hay como 15 gente aquí. Check this shit out. Voy a matar gente aquí, friki.
El tipo me tiró un tiro en el culo. Tiene 13 balas.
Un curioso va a salir por acá atrás. Está en el segundo piso. Ahí está, ahí está, ahí está. I told you.
Oh, what the fuck?
I know, right? Now ahí salió y ¡pah! Pero le maté el tipo ahí.
God, le jodiste el party, le jodiste el party.
Ahí está, yeah, that's it.
Y que ese tipo salió, toma. Tienen que poner una opción para cuando tú estés en el piso tú muerdas a la gente o algo. Saques el cuchillo, last tense. Veo cuánta gente cabrón ahí, como 17, ¿eh?
Teamfight execution. This is now a Frozen Heart, Spirit Visage Trundle with Subjugate against a team that lacks healing reduction. Uzi's still yet to pick up that Executioner's Calling. So if Soaz can time the usage of a Gargoyle Stoneplate, his ultimate will be upwards of a 3,000 health heal on top of the resistances he steals.
Caveman versus dinosaurs happening on our screen.
Don't know why he ulted so early against Letme. That ultimate is the tool for Soaz and team.
Wanted to see the stats.
Yeah.
It's
How
a
much
test.
armor and MR do I get? Ooh, a lot.
It's a test, sending a message, just reminding him here.
Teamfight execution. This is now a Frozen Heart.
The round. They're actually going towards Source now as Xiao, who is here as well in the bottom lane.
Alright, stun lands onto Soaz. He's still got that Gargoyle Stoneplate to tag if he needs to.
Real hard to
Gonna
kill.
throw that one out. There comes the Unleashed Power. Yet another stun. Soaz continues to run away. 1000 HP. Flashes over
it's
the
a blast
wall. Gets the blast cone out. Sends Devil XG away. Soaz still not down. Sidestep. Scatter the weak. Falls short.
Classic
Soaz escapes. And he didn't even need teleport this time around.
The round. They're actually going towards...
Oh, ¿dónde está? ¿Dónde está?
Mira, mira, delante mí, delante mí. Está en el aire. Va a salir por el lado que marqué.
Oh, fuck.
Ya te dije, ¿viste? Exactamente por donde dije, me escapaba. Bueno, exactamente no, pero...
Nope, nope, you missed it, bro. You missed it.
Bueno, oye, estás loco, estás aquí.
¿Dónde? Me toca.
Mentira.
Bueno, se tiró el equipo completo. Let's go, let's fucking go.
Esta vez sí ganamos,
Esta vez sí ganamos, esta vez sí vamos a coger armas, que no es lo mismo. La última vez yo cogí una chaqueta blanca.
Vamos, eso, yo lo enroscas así. Y metes unos huipazos.
Soy el primero aquí, am I the first?
I mean, yeah, midnight.
Cuando...
Fucking go, son. Oh my god, mira la ciudad esa. La ciudad es como 70 gente, todo abajo, abajo adelante.
Vamos para el segundo piso, el primer piso es tuyo.
Ok.
Te vamos al segundo piso y te voy a tener un piñazo, uno solo te va a meter por la cabeza.
Oye, cálmate, ya estás queriendo dar golpe. Es que el primer piso.
No, que eso es lo que tú haces. Tú miras más o menos ahí cuando tú me ves entrar y dices, ¡oh shit! Y empiezas a coger para el segundo piso.
Yo fuera que
Sí,
yo no
sí.
esté mirando y me vuelo por ahí.
Ya te dije, ya. Te va a poner tremendo fucking estragón si te veo acá arriba.
Oye, no, eso no es nada fair. Yo no encontré nada en el primer piso.
Eso es problema tuyo, flaco.
Un chocón de palo aquí lo que había.
Yo tampoco tengo nada.
Hay una medicina acá arriba, flaco.
Let's fucking go.
¡Flaco! ¡No vas a matar!
Tienes que pedirle permiso a Johnny si quieres ir para allá.
Un poco fuera. A ver que me cuente que fue.
¡Flaco! Cuidado. Cuidado que...
Espera que Johnny no esté
Estoy corriendo con una granada en la mano. Yo no te aconsejaría que
Oh my God.
trataras nada
No,
muy
no,
risky.
vamos a suicidar.
No había ni piña en mi tica, bro.
Mistona, aquí fa-
¡Oh!
Yo no-
Finally made it. Yo sabía que se podía hacer, lo único que... You have to believe.
Believe it.
Cuidado, tira la granada.
Espérate, oh my God, oye, hay que lutear esto rápido. Mira, maricón.
Te lo dije. Yo tiro la granada, yo lo dije. Yo dije, I don't know.
Este tipo, man, yo no tengo nada.
O sea, yo tenía, oh my god, yo tenía un voice chat, yo. Ya sé por qué la gente me escuchaba en el balcón ahorita. Tenía un voice chat prendido. Todo este tiempo estaba hablando en el juego.
Entonces la tiró para adelante.
No, yo la tiré más arriba.
Maricón. Ahora si hay alguien aquí estamos muertos para la puta.
What's
Come
in it?
bandages, flaco.
No, yo me estoy dando bien.
Yo no tengo pistola todavía.
Si fueras otra persona se te pudiera dar un chocón aquí.
Le pingue tu choco, ¿viste?
Eres un
El friki le vas a por al lado de una choca ahí.
No uso eso. No me goza de calidad, si no...
Hay una K-47 aquí si alguien no quiere.
Yo tengo una cara. Tengo una cara, esta fama pinga. Estoy buscando por una SKS, cabrón. Si encuentro una SKS me avisen. Ricky, I made it first.
Nope.
Yep, I made it first.
Nope. Didn't.
Ok, a este lado de usted, vamos para arriba.
Un friki, a mí me gusta un friki está delegando las cosas ahí.
Mira, el juego completo me lo voy a llevar.
Vamos para arriba, al lado de usted. Ok. Yeah, good one. Un level 2 acá arriba. Oye, flaco.
Yo estoy en techo, que también el techo es tuyo.
El flaco quiere que le tiro, parece, ¿verdad? ¡Ricky! ¡Cuidado!
Bueno, hemos topado más equipo.
Me quedé trabado, no puedo mover. Anda, fuck.
Quedó flanquero.
¿Tienes bandages, friki?
No, nadie vio un helmet. Oh, mira el helmet.
Pero no te crees que me bloqueo, no. Que no me bloqueo por el problema, Ricky.
¿Quién quiere un helmet? Level 2.
Yo.
No tengo espacio. mochila.
¿Y qué es lo que tú tienes?
Un gemelador.
¿Y para qué tú tienes espacio?
No sé.
Que no lo puedo coger para dárselo a ustedes. Yo no
Un
tengo
compresor, dijiste un gemelador. Joder.
GML2 no,
Sí, ya me di cuenta. Ya me di cuenta de que no era lo que yo pensaba.
GML2, si yo tengo el GML1, lo hubiera cogido.
Yo no tengo scope.
Bueno,
No era scope, era un compresor. Fíjate ese
era
libro.
un scope, yo estoy diciendo que un scope.
Yo no ni me scope.
Había un
¿Dónde
scope
está,
de
flaco? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde es
Está
Mayo?
ahí atrás,
Cuidado,
Flaco, encontré una.
estaba en la segunda de eso.
Flaco, I don't need your fucking scope.
¡Ojo!
Cuidado, una granada, no te vas para arriba.
Nadie está corriendo para ti, tú eres un traicionero.
Ok, bien.
También no te recomiendo ir para atrás porque mira donde está el círculo, está en casa de la pinga.
Tranquilo, esta es mi ruta. Esta es mi rotation.
Flaco, ¿usted tiene un extended quick draw?
No. Ahorita ganamos uno porque tú hablas. Morí al final del juego, me morí. No, bueno, sí. No,
Coge la casa amarilla, flaco, a la derecha.
Sí, estoy yendo para allá.
Voy para la casa roja.
Oh, el town aquel estaba fundido, ¿viste?
Un día piojo.
Oh de piojo, de garrapata, de gente, de todo.
Walhalla se llama el tipo ese. Y mató a Chinchón.
Chinchón mató a un chun. Otro copo todo aquí. What the fuck.
Vamos los dos juntos y hacen bucuá.
Que lo guá, que lo como, guau. No hay carro, men, estamos jodidos.
Oh, juicy.
Cojo una mochila.
Juicy.
Yo no encontré algo bien bueno para
Oh, juicy. Oh, damn.
Eso es mentira, eso es mentira.
Oh, damn, este estaba bueno. Es más, esta casa estaba buena, esta casa. Hay una-
No le creas, te inflando.
un casco, en la misma casa, un casco del 3 y un polocho. Juicy. Oye, necesito... ¿Qué tienes?
Hay un boy aquí, podemos buscar el boy.
Quiero un por 4 y por lo menos una car, una de esa cabeza, una de las dos cosas.
Tengo un SCAR con extended quick draw, el grip, tiene todo. Pero
Ajá.
arriba un poco.
No. A este momento me hace falta un SKS o una mini. O un SCAR, vaya.
Oh my god.
¿Un SCAR?
Oh my god.
Una SCAR no, una car.
Mira, el carro aquí, el carro por otro lado, por otro lado. Son
¡Flaco! ¡Dale!
Espérate, te voy a dar.
Oh, wow. ¿A quién te le diste, flaco? Yo le tuve que dar como 8.600 tiros a ese tipo, po. Ah. Ese
Voy a
tipo,
buscarlo usted,
lo más fucking...
Estoy diciendo.
Lo revivió.
Voy a tirarle.
No se muevan, yo voy con una moto para allá.
No, estamos muertos.
Fucking más hero del mundo, bro.
Y eso le eres tú, te estoy diciendo, no jorobes el carro para poder apuntar.
Pero si nos bajamos al final nos bajamos. What the fuck are you talking about, yo?
¿No viste que
Cuando nos bajamos, ¿qué te hiciste, flaco? ¿Qué te hiciste? Literalmente nada, no tocaste a ninguno.
la mitad de la vida cuando me bajé?
Tú te bajaste cuando te daba la gana, yo te bajé a ti. What the fuck?
Yo me bajé cuando metiste el drifting.
Ya, yo también me bajé y no me quité nada de vida. O sea, que aprende a bajarte, lo tienes que hacer entonces, cojones, si te bajaste.
Aprenda a jugar lo que
Jesus Christ.
ve la gente, ¿para qué le quieres tirar? Pero ahí
¿A matarlo? Fuck, estaban muertos.
es lo que
Era fucking ahí. Si hubiera dado por lo menos un tiro, pero ni un tiro yo estoy seguro.
The age of 15 without violence is guilty of sexual abuse of a child. That carries a 5-year maximum sentence and a fine. For any act to be considered rape, there must be
La mata
violence,
esa, bro, de
constraint, threat, or
pinga.
supply. And that's even when it comes to those under 15. And the reason that under 15 part is important is that the laws create this weird situation. Here's a recent example. Last month, a French court ruled that an 11-year-old girl consented to have sex with a 28-year-old man. According to the report, the 28-year-old man told the 11-year-old girl he wanted to teach her how to kiss. She followed him to his house from the park. Once there, sex occurred. The parents of the girl saying that the girl was paralyzed with fear and was unable to defend herself. But because he did not physically force her to have sex with him, he was charged with just sexual abuse of a minor instead of rape. So right now, French lawmakers are looking into that, and I say good because that whole situation is incredibly messed up. But hopefully what we get from this ridiculous situation is meaningful change to protect others in the future. Then let's talk about Facebook and Russia, people. We're talking about Russia. It's all a hoax. Facebook hasn't existed in 12 years. Everybody knows it. 10 years ago, that commie literal son of a bitch, Tom from MySpace, created an internet super virus that burrowed into people's brains. It made all the weaklings that haven't taken their male vitality pills believe in a Zuckerberg, which is really just a hologram controlled by a lizard person. Wake up, sheeple. But joking aside, we are going to talk about Facebook and Russia. And obviously, this entails the election, but we're talking about this because on April 27th of 2017, Facebook released a 13-page report titled Information Operations and Facebook. And in the report, they had a section that detailed that, quote, malicious actors engaged in, quote, influence campaigns during the 2016 presidential election. Then on September 6th, Facebook releases a newsroom blog post revealing that groups with Russian links were behind the campaign. This, of course, led to massive speculation. One of the main questions, how long did Facebook know that Russia was behind the influence campaign? Well, as of right now, that's unclear. A Facebook spokesman told the Wall Street Journal, at the time that we published the Information Operations and Facebook report, we were not in a position to know for sure who was behind the activity that we described. We did not feel comfortable making a definitive attribution. Now, at the surface level, I understand why some people maybe don't believe Facebook. The general understanding of Russia interference and the purchasing of ads on Facebook that I've seen passed around a lot is Russia bought a lot of pro-Trump ads. Boom. End of story. Done. Well, no, that's not it. And also, I want to make a note before moving forward. The actions of Russia during the 2016 campaign are part of a massive investigation by Special Counsel Robert Mueller right now. It is a huge issue that would take hours to properly cover. So we're just going to go into this specific aspect of the alleged Russian meddling. So the question becomes, well, Phil, how is there more to the story than Russian groups bought pro-Trump ads? Well, while Facebook has refused to release exact examples of what these ads look like, some small details have surfaced. The ads reportedly covered a massive range of topics, everything from Black Lives Matter to pro-Second Amendment. Essentially, Russia was trying to back all movements and all polarizing subjects. If you're part of a group that is likely to vote because of a handful of issues, you were likely targeted. Reportedly, 1/4 of the ads were geo-targeted. That means that they were only for a specific area. For example, they sent Black Lives Matter ads to Ferguson and Baltimore, both areas that had recent police shootings during the election cycle. So the obvious question is why? That's not a pro-Trump group. Not to speak on behalf of BLM, but I don't think they're too pumped about Trump and his administration. Well, the prevailing idea is that the ads were meant to polarize political opinion. This galvanizes political discourse and helps push moderates to the left or right. A lot of people think of this story just as trying to get Trump to win. I personally think that what we're hearing here is that this was mainly about disruption of the country and the people. A country that's incredibly divided cannot work together, and thus the country would suffer. That said, additionally, there are reports that they sent out targeted ads to Wisconsin and Michigan that were chosen to try and sway voters to Trump. And as you remember, those states were crucial in securing a victory for Trump. In case you forgot, Trump won in Michigan by less than 1% of the vote. There were 4.8 million votes cast. Trump wins with a margin of 10,700 votes. And in total, it's believed these ads were seen by over 10 million people. It's thought that over $100,000 was spent on these ads. But back to Facebook's response and the idea that they did not know. Many, including Senator Mark Warner, believe that it was incredibly obvious. Senator Mark Warner tweeting, and they paid in rubles. Seriously. And also, while Facebook has been at the center of stories like this, it's important to realize that they're not the only one. Recently, it was revealed that Google sold about $4,700 worth of ads to Russian groups before figuring it out. Twitter is also under incredible scrutiny. Reportedly, during the election cycle, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of fake accounts run by bots from Russia. FireEye researchers figured out that many of these automated accounts would tweet out the same exact thing seconds apart in an alphabetical order of the account name. So now, of course, you have people saying, how could Twitter let this happen? They knew the accounts were being run from Russia. They knew they were spouting deception and propaganda against a political candidate. Twitter has since claimed they are, quote, doubling down on fake accounts, but many don't really believe them. And believe might not be the right word. I think have the faith in Twitter. And specifically around Twitter, one of my favorite stories is about the 10GOP Twitter account. Turns out that account was created by the Russian Internet Research Agency. It was an account that had over 130,000 followers. It would share fake news, outrageous stories. And the craziest thing wasn't the fact that this was happening and people were following and sharing stuff from this account. One of the craziest things about this story is that reportedly the actual Tennessee GOP had unsuccessfully tried to make Twitter aware of this fake account for months. And in general, the situation's so ridiculous, Facebook, Google, and Twitter are now going to have to testify testify before Congress next month to say what they knew, how they could have let this happen. But all of that brings us to now. John McCain and Democratic Senators Amy Klobuchar and Mark Warner have signed on together to change regulation regarding internet political ads. The bill is called the Honest Ads Act. The bipartisan bill says it would prevent foreign actors from influencing our election by ensuring that political ads sold online are covered by the same rules as ads sold on TV, radio, and satellite. And it seems like the big point of the bill is to try to make social media giants accountable for what political ads they allow to run. The bill would codify some aspects of regulations that are currently not nearly as strict. For example, Facebook and Google are required to put at the bottom of political advertisements who paid for them. But they can seek exceptions to this rule. And in the 2016 election cycle, Google was granted an exception, and Facebook's decision was tied 3-3. And even though there was a tie, Facebook proceeded like they were granted an exception anyway. This new law would stop that, no exception. Additionally, it would, quote, require platforms to make reasonable efforts to ensure that foreign individuals and entities are not purchasing political advertisements in order to influence the American electorate. And this is actually not new thinking. The FEC back in 2011, 2016, they tried to put through similar rules, but they faced resistance from groups like Facebook who claimed that this would stand in the way of innovation. What I do kind of love about this bill and the general thinking is if you really kind of break it down, what we're saying is, hey, the only people allowed to emotionally manipulate Americans are other Americans. So that's where we are in this story right now. I would love to know your thoughts here. Do you think this bill would change anything? Will it make you feel more comfortable? Personally, I'm of the belief that government and legislation moves at such a slow pace that the people that are manipulating people, the people that are doing things, they just always stay ahead of the curve. When you look at situations that ended up being so incredibly obvious, like the Twitter bot situation, I think that Twitter can try, but I just believe that at their scale, at the number of people using their site at all times, the people that want to manipulate that place are just going to find better and easier and sneakier ways to do what they want to do. I mean, even when just saying the Twitter story out loud, I went, oh, well, you could completely just hide that with an algorithmic change. Also understand, I say that not as someone that's like, 1 second, let me get right to it. But that's where we are, and I'd love to know your thoughts on the whole thing. And that's where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button if you're new. What's up, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Welcome back to the Friday Show. For those of you that are new here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, talk about the news, world events, and then Friday, it's all about the conversation. I go back through the past week of videos, see what you're saying on the stories we covered, and I reply back. Because having a news show is great, but what's the point of it if we don't really have a conversation about the topic? But before we jump into that, I have been spammed with requests to cover a story over the past 2 days, so I want to knock that out. And that story is, did BuzzFeed steal from a small creator? This is not a new claim or story. We've seen claims like this in the past. But the claims we're talking about today are coming from a creator by the name of Jacqueline Glenn. She put out a video on the 6th titled BuzzFeed Stole From Me, and in it she accuses BuzzFeed of copying one of the episodes from her series A Skeptic's Guide to Wellness in their video We Practice Magic with a Real Witch. The video features side-by-side comparisons of what they do, reactions, the location. This garnered a lot of attention, a lot of outrage. Later on Twitter, Jacqueline shared a conversation she had with Sarah Rubin, one of the co-creators of that BuzzFeed video. There, Sarah says there's honestly just a ton of overlap that happens out there because there's millions of hours of content being released every day. She claims I've been preparing this video for about 2 months as part of a religion series. There is no hive mind at BuzzFeed or any kind of directive to steal or copy. I came up with the idea a while ago. We're certainly entitled to your beliefs. I'm just laying out my side. But that wasn't the end of it. On October 11th, Jacqueline Glenn posts a new video called Crystal Healing, A Cure for Cancer. Then a few days later, on October 17th, BuzzFeed on the channel formerly known as BuzzFeed Yellow, now just called Boldly, they post a video titled Women Try Crystal Healing for Chronic Pain. And so very soon after, Jacqueline Glenn posts a video, BuzzFeed caught stealing again, and there are side-by-side comparisons of the format and the reaction. And in the video, she calls out BuzzFeed. She tells the people watching the video, you know, go to their Twitter, publicly call them out. And then we see BuzzFeed respond. It appears that first they tried to contact Fullscreen, which is the MCN that Jacqueline's a part of. Jacqueline shares direct messages of BuzzFeed video contacting her. And then finally, 2 of the creators that were accused of stealing that work at BuzzFeed, Sarah and Kelsey, post a very large Medium post. And in that, they claim that they did not steal the idea. And they hit on 2 main points here. The BuzzFeed producers arguing that there is a difference at the core of the creation of these videos, saying their content is automatically different from the Skeptic's Guide because they dive into the topics for different reasons. The women in the Crystal Healing video both suffer from chronic pain and have explored topics around this before. So that obviously in reference to the Crystals video. As far as the Real Witch video, the BuzzFeed producers say, as for Sarah's video, while we understand the similarities in the video, the location, which is the epicenter of pagan culture in LA, it is important to acknowledge that people have similar interests. This video and others like it had been in the works since May. And so separately from that, they share multiple documents with their research and emails, this including date dates. They create timelines of what they were doing with their work and what was publicly available of Jacqueline's work. After this, Jacqueline goes to Twitter to refute some of the points, part of the timeline. Kelsey Dara then shares the Medium post on Twitter with the caption, "I've literally never heard of this chick before yesterday." Jacqueline goes to Facebook to show that they're actually friends on Facebook. It looks like they have been for 2 years. Kelsey responds, "Sorry you're not that memorable, I guess." Which I will say personally I think comes off pretty dickish. You say something, someone shows evidence of maybe that not necessarily being true, so then you say a rude thing. But whatever. Did BuzzFeed steal? Did BuzzFeed copy? Maybe, but there's nothing definitive here. I know that some of you are maybe really excited about Phil going in on BuzzFeed, but here personally I can't say I 100% see it. If I was on a jury, I would have to say not guilty. Here's the thing. Have BuzzFeed producers been guilty of this in the past? 100%. Does that mean everyone that works at BuzzFeed steals? No. Now, could they have stolen the idea? Sure. I guess as much as you can steal an idea or a concept or a skeleton of a show. But also on that note, it's important to mention all the people now pointing to Jacqueline Glenn's own past. She's actually been exposed for plagiarism, but she's also acknowledged it and apologized. I mean, that just gets a little bit tricky. If I put out a video tomorrow where I do a deep dive into the marijuana industry or crypto and Bitcoin and the rise of Ethereum, if I follow a cookie cutter build out of a show where I'm talking or dealing with an expert or experiencing it myself, and then we're doing cutaways to me doing a confessional, is that copying? Is that stealing? I feel like you'd have a hard time proving. Like if I put out that video and then Vice put someone out in the field and they filmed something similar around the topic, I wouldn't think that they copied me, they stole. Even if they went to the same locations or used the same expert, because most likely you're typing in most prominent insert blank place in LA. And then obviously you're gonna wanna go to that location with those specific experts, that specific experience. I think you start getting into shaky territory where if the Fine Bros on their React channel react to Kesha doing insert blank, and someone else posts a reaction video about the Kesha thing, are they copying the Fine Bros? I don't believe so. What makes those videos unique are the people that are in them. Also, I think people really need to understand that parallel thinking is a real thing. And I think one of the best examples of this actually comes from YouTube about a year ago. CPG Grey and Vsauce3 put out very similar videos at the same time. Jake had been away from YouTube for a while for health reasons. He was all excited for his first video back about the teleportation paradox, and just random happenstance, CGP Grey puts out the same video covering most of the same points just the day before when Jake was going to post. So then Jake doesn't know what to do. He posts a video to his personal channel. I mean, obviously at that point, if you're a creator, you're scared people are going to think that you're unoriginal, that maybe you're stealing. So sometimes it happens. And so when we look to a BuzzFeed, which is a large organization with so many people, it's not crazy to think that there might be some overlap there. Understand, I'm saying this as someone not getting any joy of having to kind of sort of come to the defense of BuzzFeed. But hey, that is my takeaway. I'd of course love to know what you think. But that said, let's jump into the Monday show. Ah, my voice keeps giving out. Let's do Monday. Monday we talked about the big update around the cheerleader splits controversy, Mia Khalifa fake news, the Kobe Steel scandal, the crack Wi-Fi hack, and the Somalia bombing. And for Monday, the main comments I wanted to look at were the ones around the Somalia bombing, specifically on the topic of the lack of news coverage on things like the Somalia bombing and the potential viewer disconnect in places like the UK and the United States. Sen Mizuki wrote about the attack in Somalia. I think the disinterest people have in stories from other countries have something to do with a general view of the world. In school, in Germany, we learned about our country, a bit about other European countries like the UK or France and then the USA. And those are the countries I mostly keep up with nowadays because I think it's easier to understand how the country works if you have a sense of its history. I think that if we learned history in a more global sense, we might feel more connected to those countries because then we know something about them. It helps demystify other countries and cultures and their people. Spicy Pineapples wrote, are we not going to address the fact that people, quote, don't feel connected to news whenever the victims are brown or black people? We always pray for Paris or any other European city, but whenever atrocities occur in Africa or the Middle East, it's barely covered and barely gets any buzz. I agree with you saying people don't read what they don't feel connected to. But doesn't it stand out to you where race is where the line is drawn? This is damaging to the American citizens that live here and are of color, not allowing people of color to be victimized by terrorism as much as non-people of color. The vast majority of victims of ISIS are Muslim and brown, yet most American citizens believe that Islam as a whole is at war with white people. This poor news coverage paints an untrue picture and is terribly irresponsible. Blind P wrote, if bad news and terrible events are common and to be expected in a country, it really does not qualify as news to the media. A massive explosion in the UK would get attention. Meanwhile, a massive explosion in the Middle East would get less. I understand it's ignoring important issues / sweeping them under the rug and whatnot, but it seems pretty reasonable and straightforward to me. Phil's explanation on general relevance when it comes to news stories and the audience is seeing them seems pretty spot on. Death Gnomes wrote, to put it bluntly, I don't care what happens in Africa. I'm not surprised by the level of violence there or in the Middle East because it's a continent full of underdeveloped nations thrust into the modern world by European colonialism and imperialism. We blow each other to bits over religion and tribal divides, like Dark Ages Europe but with modern weaponry. And so as callous and cold as it is, I just don't care. Get back to me when they hit their version of the Enlightenment period, then maybe I'll be more shocked. Bernard Gilbert wrote, perhaps the lack of coverage about the bombings in Somalia could be chalked up to disaster fatigue. If so many other horrible things haven't been happening at or near the same time, Puerto Rico, Las Vegas, even the ambush of those U.S. servicemen. I'm talking about people online using social media, not coverage via the news networks, there might have been more room in our minds to process this horror. So as you can see, lots of different reactions. What I will say is I can kind of see disaster fatigue, but I really don't think that's the case here. And ultimately where I land on this, and you can see it in some people's comments, I feel like there's a disconnect. The people see that as not them, it's an other. Now, as far as the disconnect, is it about race? Is it about color? I think maybe for some, but I don't think overall. I think it's an incredibly divisive statement to say either, yes, this is blatantly because of racism, people don't care about people of color, or to say that that's not a possibility for some people. And I feel like there's just a disconnect for a lot of people because there's not a lot known from that potential viewing audience. Example, while I'm sure there's plenty of people that I'm talking to right now where I go, hey, here's a map, show me where Somalia is, people find it. There's probably a lot of people that don't know where that is on a map. If you say Washington, Paris, Berlin, Montreal, Mexico City, people know where that is. But the moment you say there's a bombing in Mogadishu, that seems alien and different to people. People don't know where that is. And understand, when I'm talking about that, that's not me saying, well, that's okay and that's just the way it is, suck it up. One, I just in general was interested in people's thoughts and wanted to see the debate that would happen. But also two, I think it's just an interesting topic about how we connect to other human beings. To make people care about a story, you have to hook them emotionally. A great example, there was a time where a lot of people knew about Aleppo, but there were way more people that had never heard of Aleppo. Syrian civil war, what's that? I don't know what you're talking about. That changes the moment this picture and video goes viral. It is heartbreaking. It becomes an international story. That photo and video immediately connects to whoever's viewing. It makes you think of your vulnerable children or brother or sister or your grandchildren. Innocents, dazed and confused, covered in dust and blood. Now, of course, at this point, it's not like people care all of a sudden everything's fixed. You have to take into account a few things, some of which that have already been mentioned. You get people to care, but the more they would naturally be disconnected from something, the more time passes, the more they become disconnected again. Also, the news cycle can play a factor. If something horrible happens here and then something horrible happens way closer to a certain audience's home, that'll change where people's eyes are. I guess the main thing I'm trying to get across here is I will continue to cover stories like this Somalia story because it is a human story. This is a horrible attack, and at its core, what you're talking about is the loss of innocence, the loss of life, because people just happen to be somewhere. And some evil bastards decided, we're gonna kill a lot of people. And it's an important story on its own, but it's also an important thing to realize that this happened. Not only do things like this happen, they are happening now, today, while you are breathing. This is happening on the same floating rock that you are on, and you may think that that is the other, but one day you may realize that's what's knocking on your door. There are a lot of things that happen in this world that people previously thought were impossible. And human beings, as we have historically and most likely will continue to do, have proven ourselves wrong. But on that happy note, let's talk about the Tuesday show. Tuesday, we talked about more Hollywood sexual harassment and assaults, Trump's claim about past presidents, and Raqqa being liberated. On the Hollywood sexual harassment story, Fox from DeFranco Elite wrote, I think people sharing stories without disclosing the offender does very little to actually solve the problem. It doesn't seem to do anything but lend comfort to victims. In regards to Jennifer Lawrence's story, I don't think it's all that strange for an actor to be asked to lose or gain weight in a short amount of time for a role. That said, literally everything but that part was disgusting. From the lineup to the guy's comment of her being bangable. And Fox, I include your comment here because I saw an interesting debate on naming names. Personally, I am of the mindset of if you have a name to name, do it. If people didn't name names, Harvey Weinstein would still be in the position he was in 2 weeks ago. But I have seen interesting and understandable arguments of why the women and even the men that are talking about this are not naming names. I mean, yes, we had the story from Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Lawrence, but we also had the stories from Terry Crews and Vanderbeek. None of them named names. And the question for many becomes why, and I personally can understand the most the idea that it's scary to be the first person to kick down that door. It's not as scary for people to share their stories.
Te lo dije, bro, es el día. El RNG está conmigo hoy.
¿Cómo eso lo cogiste?
Por loguear 5 días seguidos, ¿verdad? La última carta me dio de tirar los goblins del barril.
Oh, nice.
Y entonces se me reseteó el shop hoy, ¿verdad? Tú sabes que el shop, el primero de la primera, la cosa es free. Me dejó la carta de Rage que no la tenía. No tenía esa carta. Fuerte. ¡Coge! Maldita la bruja esa por el
¿Viste como quita el loco ese? Ese chiquitico no cree en nadie, bro.
Oh shit, what are you gonna do now? Uh. Ahí le vas a sacar buen trozo. Al menos en 200 lo va a dejar. 400. Ajá, el drama empezó a darle. Yo creo que la witch llegue y se va a morir la witch. Yep. No es la mosquetera, bye bye. Está buena la combinación del esqueleto con el maguito atrás. Yo creo que el esqueleto ese se va a morir ahora. Ya, para el mago tuyo también se va a morir. Ouch. Oh, friki.
¡No! ¡No, you motherfucker!
Yo creo que era mejor si empezaba a mandar las tropas tuyas por mano izquierda. Y con
Sí.
más que usaba algo en la mano
No,
izquierda.
no tenía negro, no tenía negro, no tenía negro. Estaba tratando de derrotar todas las cosas lo más rápido posible, por eso mismo, porque no tenía el negro. Estaba tratando de coger el negro. Dije, bueno, si cojo el negro gano, a mí no gano, pero bueno, por lo menos no pierdo.
Exacto, exacto.
Pero el hecho de cogí,
No cogiste negro.
que no cogí el negro, pero vamos allá.
¿Cuánto cuesta el gigante, friki?
Antes 5. Ok. Sí, pues ya me tiró todo. Oh my god, tiene mi espalda ahora. Are you kidding me? God damn, esa witch que nivel es.
Friki, a ti te tocan algunos coreanos o rusos.
Sí.
Yeah.
Damn, pero cojones, ¿qué peso tiene ese bicho,
¿Quién?
Ojo.
Looks like that's it. Voy a acostarla a ver si ahorita Dios se levante y vamos un día aquí. Cuando se levante no me regrese.
Dale, dale.
No tengo sueño, pero si me quedo ahora a hacer la pinga que siempre va así.
No sé cuánto... No sé cuánto tiempo dio. Creo que dio, ya está llegar ya. No, son las 2 ahora. Él sale creo que a esta hora. Llámalo aquí a ver qué dice.
What the fuck, Dios mandó un link ahí de un juego que se llama Slither. Y entro aquí y soy una serpientica, pero hay unos majazones grandes ahí que son
Oh,
unas anacondas.
eso es como lo que estábamos jugando. Como
Oh,
la...
esto se siente mucho, se siente súper que más smooth, Ricky.
¿Se siente mejor?
Oh my god, sí, súper smooth. Cliqué en él y nada más que tú entras, tú ves que smooth se siente.
Sí, yo lo he jugado, lo jugué, pero... No sentí bien. Ok, puse el infierno en la parte izquierda. God damn it.
Yes, yes.
Oh no. Oh my god, esos globos. Los 3 gente que me han ganado estos últimos 3 juegos han sido con el fucking globo pinguero ese.
Globo.
Sí. Te voy a cambiar el...
¿Y cómo están tirando? ¿Cómo están tirando? Nada más están tirando el globo así ya.
Tiran el globo, es que no hay DPS para bajar el globo ese. Tengo que cambiar aquí algo. Esa mierda lo voy a quitar.
¿Cuál es el build tuyo?
El bio mío es el esqueleto. Esqueleto, el Musketeer, Hawk Rider, el Wizard o la Witch, cualquiera de los dos. El P.E.K.K.A, el Zap, el Skeleton Army y
La
el
Witch
Hawk.
se cuesta 5, ¿no?
Sí, y el Wizard también.
Yo diría que con la Mosquefree, la Mosquetier y el Mago tú puedes tumbarlo.
Sí, pero el problema es tenerlo en ese momento y tengo que tenerlo los dos. Y son 5 y 4, son 9 puntos para defender de un globo que cuesta son 5.
Oh, el Wizard te cuesta 5, oh wow.
Sí. Digo, que es imposible defender de esa mierda, man.
Porque yo tumbo el globo con la Mosquetier y los 3 goblins míos, pero los 3 goblins míos nada más son 2.
Yo voy a cambiar el hot este por este. ¿Con qué tú defiendes?
El globo con la Mosquetier y los 3, los Spear Goblins.
Oh, los explico, no sé si es bueno para
¿Tú
defender.
quieres probar el video mío, Frica? A ver cómo te va.
Voy a probarlo, sí. Okay.
Consiste de es la Barbarian, ¿ok? La Valkyria esa. Es la Valkyria, la mosquetera, el Skeleton Army, el dragoncito, la bola de fuego, el Zap, el negro y los Spear Throwers. Con ley de número 2, algo así. Úsalo unas cuantas veces a ver cómo funciona.
Oh, oh, wow, se quedó con 57 de vida. Prepare.
I know what you want, girl. Vamos a tirar por un ratico. Llámame ahorita si quieres. No tenés que estar al lado mío. Déjame quitarle Do Not Disturb.
It's a safety in numbers idea. It was most likely the most...
Hablamos un rato.
Dale, dale.
terrifying for the first people to publicly name Harvey Weinstein. That then resulted in others sharing their stories, some not naming names, others naming names. And that's not to say people sharing stories while not naming names that's not scary. I've seen a lot of those people come under fire from others online saying that they're part of the problem, that because they were silent, they allowed this to continue. I really don't think that kind of thinking takes into account the whole situation. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just not a big fan of attacking a victim. Most likely a young person that came in and this was the environment and they just thought, okay, well, this is what I have to deal with. And also, the moment you name a specific person, you're going to get pushback. I mean, if you want a prime example of why victims are scared to speak out and name their accusers, I mean, look at the Bill Cosby situation. He's been accused of sexual assault by over 50 women, and there are so many people that still don't believe any of those women. So many similar stories about their experiences with this man who had power and influence. And even if he said some of them were, all of them? That's a lot of fucking smoke for there to be no fire. So I understand the fear. I do believe that names have to be named for real change to happen in the industry and just really the world. That's my personal takeaway. On Trump's claim about past presidents, GV Roma wrote, "Don't be disingenuous." Listen to the actual words of the question and to Trump's comment. The reporter asks about, quote, never called. Trump says many of them did not call. At no time did he say that Obama never called. Many of the so-called controversies in the media about what Trump said or did not say are exactly like this. So to GV, I want to say, I want you to listen to the actual words as well. The, quote, never called part was part of a follow-up question. Just so the whole class remembers, Trump says...
So the traditional way, if you look at President Obama and other presidents, most of them didn't make calls, a lot of them didn't make calls. I like to call when it's appropriate, when I think I'm able to do it.
How does that not sound like he said Obama and others didn't call? He said it first. That then spawns the question of how can you say he never called? And once again for the class to remind you how he responded to that question.
Earlier you said that President Obama never called the families of fallen soldiers. How can you make that claim?
I don't know if he did. No. I was told that he didn't often, and a lot of presidents don't. They write letters. I do, excuse me, Peter. I do a combination of both.
And that's where he changes from this is a full-on claim to I don't know, I was told he doesn't do it often. And so to GV and any of the other Trump supporters here that do not think that he was in the wrong here, I'm going to say something that is a little bit twisted, but what I always say to Trump haters, pick your swings. There are examples of fake news. There are examples of the media misconstruing something that happened. Selective editing. But when you say everything is fake news and you defend and deflect on the most obvious of instances, it makes it that much harder to take you seriously on any of the other times you're making those similar claims, maybe justly so in those instances. Same as how when you have a person that blatantly hates Trump and they take every swing on everything regardless of how real it is. And I feel like the reason I'm fine with saying all this is if I'm talking about Trump, I'm getting hate from someone. What's amazing, when on the same video people are denouncing me and attacking me for either going too soft or too hard on the same video. And while I do think the media is in part blamed to Trump being a sympathetic figure to a lot of the people that support him, that also doesn't mean he gets excused if he does something wrong or stupid or horrible. That's where I'm gonna leave that one. And then let's jump into the Wednesday show. Wednesday, we talked about Michaela Maroney's horrible sexual assault story, some YouTube demonetization news, an update on the United Airlines controversy, Trump's call to a veteran's widow, and the fires in Portugal and Spain. On the Trump fallen soldiers controversy, Denver Drew wrote, that congresswoman is about as smart as a bag of hammers. It is a very standard statement that Trump gave the grieving woman. I'm sure he knew what he was signing up for, but when this happens, it still hurts. That is so basic, and that crazy hat lady is blowing this up to an unnecessary level. Quote Trump, sad. Rachel M. Lewis wrote, yeah, don't say, quote, he knew what he was signing up for to a grieving widow. Even if he meant well, that's not cool. Come on, man. Dixie PB wrote, I served in the military for 22 years, and if I had died and someone said, quote, he knew what he signed up for or any variation of that, it'd be absolutely correct. It wouldn't have upset anyone in my family, a lot of whom have also served. Yoda Baki wrote, not trying to defend Trump here, but why is he in trouble for allegedly not calling a dead guy a hero? Did he die doing something heroic? Giving a guy a gun doesn't make them a hero, and if he died, isn't it kind of just the risk you take in your job, like becoming a cop or any other dangerous profession? Okay, so there are a few things to unpack there. The first, I would say to Baki, is yes, I believe that person is a hero. While, like I said in the video, statistically, if you join the military, it should not be an expected thing that you're going to die at this time. Obviously, that can't take into account the full individual risk depending on what you're being deployed into. But I will say this and mean this 10 times out of 10 times. The people that join our armed forces, to me, they are heroes. They are making a decision that I did not. They're putting themselves in positions that have varying levels of if shit goes down, I get involved and there's a risk. I don't know how I could not be thankful for and to those people. And also, I mean, a lot of people don't talk about it, the supporting families. Someone in your family is deployed, it can feel like the whole family is deployed. So there's that. And as far as what Donald Trump said, one of the biggest, most important things was seeing the full claim. So many people are just sharing the he knew what he signed up for part.
He said to the wife, Well, I guess he knew what he was getting into.
Well, I didn't hear the whole phone call, but I did hear him say, I'm sure he knew what he was signing up for, and but it still hurts.
On its own, it sounds callous, cruel, disconnected. But when you take into account the full sentence that the Congresswoman shared to some outlets and then for some reason only gave part of it to others, I'm sure he knew what he was signing up for, but when it happens, it still hurts. And some people try to crucify me on this recollection. Blurt Widgeon writing, wait, why did Phil spend his energy discrediting the Congresswoman over a recollection of accounts, but then he says, by the way, the other woman confirmed it? Oh, and I hate talking about this. One, because Blurt, you say I'm discrediting the Congresswoman. I'm just showcasing the two different statements she gave media. One, which turns out was just a portion that seems callous, and another where you go, oh, okay, I understand the statement he was making. And then I say the mother of the widow confirms what the Congresswoman said, which at that point, her understanding of what the Congresswoman said was most likely the full statement. I will hit Trump when he's in the wrong, but if you're going to have to exclude context for your swings, I'm not going to be on board for that. I am still not a fan of how Trump handled the situation in the first place. Talked about that in the Tuesday recap. Since then, places like the Washington Post have contacted the families of fallen soldiers, fact-checking the claim from Trump that he calls all the families, or then how he corrects virtually all the families. One of the reports I read is that they had contacted 13 families. About half of them said that Trump had not called them. But then also there were reports that on one of the calls, Trump said that he would give the family $25,000. And from that, you have people praising him for giving them money, and others saying, well, you said you pretty much called virtually everyone. 50% of a test group doesn't really seem like virtually everyone. And ultimately where I land on the statement that is allegedly said by Trump to a widow on a private phone call, I end up looking to General Kelly, who spoke yesterday. He opened up about the death of his son and a conversation he had with his casualty officer.
Joe Dunford told me, because he was my casualty officer, he said, Kel, he was doing exactly what he wanted to do when he was killed. He knew what he was getting into by joining that 1%. He knew what the possibilities were because we're at war. And when he died, in the 4 cases we're talking about in Niger, my son's case in Afghanistan, when he died, he was surrounded by the best men on this earth. He knew what he was getting himself into because he enlisted. There's no reason to enlist. He enlisted. And he was where he wanted to be, exactly where he wanted to be, with exactly the people he wanted to be with when his life was taken.
And then let's talk about the Thursday show. Thursday, we started a little lighter with a story about fake chicken. Then we talked about the underage consent problem in France. And then Twitter, Facebook, and Russia. Richard England wrote, you should do an entire video with your InfoWars impression. No, it hurts so much to do that stupid fucking impression. I don't actually watch enough Alex Jones to know much about him. I don't know if that guy smokes like 80 cigars. I don't know how that becomes your voice. When I'm doing this horrible impression, it comes more from the back of the throat, and it hurts so bad. On the Russian interference story, SC Sigs wrote, let's be honest, Russia weren't the only ones dividing the country last year. They just didn't help matters. There were a lot of people who were brought up last year, like feminists, SJWs, conservatives, and super liberals, who were also tearing apart the country with all their too much at once bullshit about equality, unintentionally racist and frankly retarded shit that didn't matter whatsoever. The only thing online politics helped me realize last year is how much of a centrist I am and how much I hate. So when the Russia didn't make things any better part, I kind of equate it to is knowing that the table that you're eating on is not structurally sound. So maybe you push and pull on it, you hit it a few times, hurry along that breaking process. And looking through your comment, I think that it is very interesting that you mentioned what appear to be 3 left extremes, feminists, SJWs, and super liberals, and then just conservatives. It's very important to remember the extremes of the right as well. That said, I will also acknowledge many people on the left have made it hard to properly identify some of the extreme groups because they have lumped some really not extreme people with extreme ideas. Like if you call Richard Spencer a white supremacist, I could understand easily where that comes from. But when you have people calling Ben Shapiro a Nazi, it kind of feels like what that person actually said was, you should take nothing I say seriously. Now granted, I understand part of the reason people like Ben get labeled that. It's for 2 reasons. One, it's ignorance, and 2, there is a concerted effort to associate someone you disagree with the most extremes so that when someone mentions their name, you throw out what they're saying. You know, a lot of people care about the news right now, but in general, a majority of people don't focus on it a lot. So for the general passerbys who are like kind of listening, all of a sudden you hear Ben Shapiro Nazi, Ben Shapiro Nazi, you just automatically associate that person with that thing. That said, I can also 100% relate to your statement of being pushed away from the left. The longer I've lived in Southern California surrounded by very, very liberal people, and I have very very liberal friends, the more it pushed me to the right. You know, there's only so much you can listen to of like everything's a microaggression and everything's cultural appropriation and check your privilege, you cis white heteronormative male. Once again, I'm not saying that this is like the entirety of the left. Blanket statements get us nowhere. I mean, I've talked about it in the past on a story with a transgender person. I accidentally used the wrong pronoun. And many people, rather than trying to educate me, decide to just chew my head off. What I do kind of end up worrying about is with a Trump presidency, it's looking like the Democrats more and more are looking to the left. Rather than going more centrist in 2020 to pick up all those people that went from Obama to Trump, that they go even further left because they're being reactionary to what Trump is doing. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. I do want to thank all of you beautiful bastards for another fantastic week. Whether you're just watching or you're also liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, maybe you're supporting us over at DeFrancoElite.com. Like fund what we're doing now and what we're building up. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you Monday.
So the last thing I want to touch on is obviously you've had a very public battle with cancer.
Sure, yeah.
That's been going on for how long? I mean, how long have you been living with cancer now?
Over 3 years.
Wow.
3 or 4 years now.
I think honestly, you've handled it with like great grace and optimism from the very beginning. That's inspired me. And first of all, thank you for doing that.
Of course.
I think it's been a beacon of light. I think for a lot of people of just like seeing how you can handle it with dignity. And I know that Hila's dealing with her dad just got recently diagnosed with cancer. We were talking about it backstage. And it's really nice to hear you being, optimistic about it. Basically, well, my first question is, because the last update that I was able to find was from like June or something.
Sure, yeah.
How's it going? What are the updates?
So basically where we are right now is that it is stabilized, meaning it's not gone away, but it's not growing. So there's a couple of small tumors in my liver, and there's one very, very small nodule in my lung. So it's stage 4, which means it spread past the initial place it was. Stage 4 is pretty bad. That's when survival chances go in the toilet. On October the 15th, 2015, I was told you've probably got 2 years to live. That was 2 years and 5 days ago.
That's crazy. Fuck cancer, dude.
So fuck those odds and fuck those numbers.
Odds, yeah.
But the problem with metabolized cancer is that metastasized cancer, is that it can go anywhere. It gets in the blood, it can spread to any organ. It becomes harder to nail it down. You can't do targeted therapies as easily. You can't just cut it out. So it being stable at this stage is very, very good because it means the therapy works and it's continuing to work, and I have fairly minimal side effects. Still got my beard, still got my tash.
You look good. I mean, you don't look like a guy who has cancer.
No.
Yeah, I'm being honest.
And last year I sure as hell did. There was people were asking. I don't know if you know, I did a voice back for StarCraft 2, and the photo they gave for me for that was in black and white, and people were like, "Did he die? Is that why they made it black and white?" But no, I looked terrible in that photo, but the chemo sucks. Of course it sucks. I have it every 2 weeks. I get plugged in on the Wednesday. I get the big dose in the clinic, and then they put me on a portable thing to take home for the rest of it until Friday. So I'm pretty much like out of action for 2 days, and then it takes me about 2 days to really get back on my feet,
What is that experience like? I feel like this conversation doesn't exist anymore. Someone with cancer
I can't believe it that you go through this every 2 weeks and you're managing to keep everything going. You still work.
I mean, I don't see another option. It's like everyone has a job. Everyone's going to do their job. It's my job's a huge motivator for me. I'm proud of what I do, and I enjoy it, and I know that I'm very blessed to be able to do it as a career.
Right.
So I want to take every opportunity I can to do it. That's why I'm out here for TwitchCon. That's why I'm going to BlizzCon. I want to take joy in that, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of it. And that also means I want to be back on my feet as quick as possible. So I look at it and I say, right, okay, I've got 10. If I can get back on my feet, I've got 10 good days and 4 bad days every 2 weeks. And you know what? That's okay. Like, I'd rather have 14 good days, but I can't have 14 good days, so I'll take 10. That's okay. And I mean, the experience of actually being on the therapy itself, I mean, it essentially turns you into a zombie. It's one of the best ways to describe it. I mean, your whole body is in pain. Just constant aching. There's a feeling of sickness, although that varies on a person-to-person basis. I get a subdermal injection right here. It's quite new. They only just started doing this. And it's a gel. And it slowly goes into your bloodstream over the course of about 5 days. And it's an antiemetic, so it's an anti-nausea gel. It knocked the nausea on the head in a really good way. Like, you still feel a bit sick, but I used to, like, throw up, like, 8 times, 10 times a day, like, until I was just throwing up stomach acid.
That's gotta be
It just burned. It was nothing but burning.
That part of chemo has got to be really difficult to the healing process, right? That
yeah,
whole thing of not
fucks you up
eating
badly.
and puking.
Yeah, because you get massively dehydrated. Like, that's the advice that I give to anyone who has to go through chemo.
What's up, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Friday.
He was really close. He might be still in the water, maybe right behind the boat. I'm getting out of the water at 255. Never mind. There's a boat down there at 255, bro. Oh. You just hit some insane shot because I heard your shot and then I hit the knock. That was like.
He's behind the boat. Below the boat?
He's getting in the boat.
Yeah, he's right gonna try me, run me down.
Alright, it's recording now. Sorry. Oh, fuck. Perfect. Hey! Oh, he's awake.
us tonight, hailing from South Korea, it's Samsung Galaxy!
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was kind of had a little bit of a bad day. But I'm hungry and I also have
Okay, you're hungry, you're about to boop.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Alright, give me 1 second.
Like at the same time. Oh.
It's your life, you can do whatever you want. Really? What you got? Wait. He's gonna pay you $100 for every single essay that he needs for the rest of the semester? you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Fucking buddy. Okay.